Hi, and welcome to MacroTube. In our media theory lesson, we are going to take a look at deduction, induction, and abduction. Abduction, induction, and deduction are different types of reasoning. They are three methods to logical philosophical theory building. Each one of them can be applied in different situations since they all have their own strengths and weaknesses, which means that there are different methods to use them. Let's take a look at deduction first. With deduction, we are making an inference based on widely accepted facts and premises. Our rule and cause are given while the effect is unknown, and we get certain answers. However, deduction requires a fair amount of general information to come to a conclusion. Let's see what exactly we mean by that. Let's talk about the relationship between a rule, a cause, and an effect first. A cause always leads to an effect. If something happens, there will be a result. If a certain cause leads to a certain effect, it creates a rule. For example, a flu leads to fever, making the flu our cause and the fever our effect. By connecting those two, we get a rule which could go something like a flu leads to fever. In deduction, we have a given rule and a given cause. So we know a flu leads to fever, and we have a flu as a cause. So with this information, we can conclude the effect would be fever. Let's take a look at another example. We know that the way from our home to the dentist takes 30 minutes. This is an established rule. We have an appointment at 10 a.m. This is our cause. Now with the rule and the cause, we can form a conclusion, which is that we need to leave by 9:30. With deduction, we take general information and apply it to specific situations to determine the outcome or the effect. Deduction usually uses quantitative research methods to establish rules and defines theories by measuring the theory concepts. So we have to test, is the theory still valid in any setting or group? Can we still predict the effect in a different environment? This makes it important to look at single cases to find potential effects that don't fit into the theory. Moving on with induction. Induction is a method of reasoning that involves an element of probability. We are now forming a generalization based on what is known or observed, so we go from specific to unspecific. Induction is mostly used to make future predictions based on past events. Now we have a cause and effect and have to form a rule out of it. This means that there is always a chance of false results, since we simply cannot see the future and the future doesn't always resemble the past. So let's look at our diagram again. We are now missing the rule while the cause and effect are given. We know flu is the cause and fever the effect. Now, if we are researching diseases and all our patients that have a flu also get a fever, we can form the rule that flu leads to fever. However, let's look at another example. Let's say we watched all the Marvel movies in the past, which is our cause, and we liked all of them, which is our effect. We could now form the rule that we love all Marvel movies. The problem is that we don't know if this will still apply in the future. Maybe we only liked specifically the ones we watched and not the new ones. So induction has always a chance of wrong conclusions. With induction, we are now looking at specific single cases and create a rule or a theory out of it. This means that induction usually uses qualitative research methods. We look at human experiences first and then form a theory out of it. With induction, we are looking for patterns that can lead us to a rule for several similar cause and effect situations. Our rule only develops from the data, so the experience of those situations. With induction, we are able to discover new things that we were not able to understand before because nobody paid attention to them. This is because we collect experiences instead of testing already given facts. With abduction, we are forming a conclusion from the information that is already known. During the process, we are eliminating unlikely possibilities until we get the most plausible. This means that we draw a conclusion based on the best explanation of the state of events, rather than from evidence provided by the premises. With abduction, we have a given rule and effect, and are now looking for the cause. So, let's look at the diagram. Our rule is, if there's a flu, the result will be fever, and our effect is fever. We are looking for a cause. Let's take the situation from before, where we have patients. We know that they have a fever, and the rule is that a flu results in fever. We could draw the conclusion that our patients have a flu. However, a flu is not the only possible cause for a fever. Let's look at another example. You and your friend have some stomach issues after eating sushi. You know that you can get stomach issues from bad sushi. Based on those facts, we can say that the most likely cause is the sushi you ate. However, this is only speculation. It could have been some other cause or pure coincidence. So the problem with abduction is that there can be several causes for one effect. For example, there are many diseases that can cause a fever. With mixed methods, we can combine all of the three methods together. This enables us testing existing premises and discovering what they mean in a new aspect. If the facts can't be found, our theory process restarts until we are able to form a hypothesis that generates statements that can be confirmed by facts. So we go through the different methods to test our theory and redo the whole process if our tests don't generate fact-based statements.